Hello, it's your boy Innovate here, trying to force himself to make a YouTube video because I acknowledge the benefits of doing so, but I also wanted to do kind of like a monthly recap of what I've been up to, what exactly is happening, and how I just got to $22,000 in value for whether it be singles, whether it be boxes and stuff like that. Now, this number is probably already higher. This was at the very end of July, and I'm recording this in mid-August. Now, I wanted to shout out all of these YouTube channels. The reason for that is for a lot of the bulk is there's actually a massive amount of content, but there's also a lot of interpretation of how bulk is interpreted or how people perceive a way to monetize your bulk. So CNA Games, Pokepaster TCG, RNG Games, Gem TCG. For the investments, I actually don't have any investment plays. So there's nothing that I'm currently holding long term or looking to hold long term, if I'm honest. The reason it's good to watch these investment YouTube videos, even if you're not making investments, is so you can understand what it is that people want to buy and understand, oh, okay, like if this YouTuber is talking about it, that's what people are going to be interested in. Pika Papa, he's really good with singles. Kachama Collectibles is very business heavy, but here and there he'll mention things of like how he's interpreting his own investments and stuff like that. Not very direct. Rudy from Alpha Investments is a little bit more specific. He'll say exactly what he's doing, why you should do it too, kind of thing. The reason it's a little bit tricky, it's hard to explain, but Alpha Investments really just sells with the idea of like, you're going to be buying this from me with the idea of investing in it, and we're going to, tag along, and that's what it's going to be the investment on. So he generally recommends a lot of people to buy certain products, and I think that's why it's worth watching, as he's one of the probably has the largest stake, honestly, in the United States. Pokene, he does a lot of non-English. I think now that I acknowledge it, there's very few creators that really talk a lot about what is the non-English market or how they're working around with it. I think it's really tricky to talk about it because sometimes, even for me, it feels weird saying like, oh, this is how much I paid for this and this is how much I'm selling it for. I can make videos like that, but I always feel like it's a little bit weird and it's not always helpful. And I always tell people to think about it like this. You go to the store, you buy a soda. They did not pay $2 or whatever you paid for it nowadays. You paid $2 or $3 for the soda. They did not pay $3 for the soda. But even if they told you, yeah, we paid $1 to sell you this for $3 for the soda, you're not going to be upset about it. And I think it's just that Pokemon is a very emotional and very nostalgic thing that I think people do take it personally. If like you tell them, hey, by the way, I'm charging you $30 more than what I paid for it, they're like, whoa, that's kind of rude, bro. Like, why aren't you just selling it to me for cheaper, kind of thing. Generally, we'll talk more about like Japanese and stuff like in a bit, but moving on. So my current growth plan is we'll do vendor shows. We have the Tik Tok Shop. eBay is something that I just started. TCGPlayer, collabs, YouTube, which I'm gonna force myself to do once a week. Right now I'm gonna try not to edit because I want to like really focus and delve into the idea of like, okay, this is it, this is what I did, this is the idea and stuff like that. Maybe I might go for daily if I'm a true degenerate, but we'll see. So vendor shows, I'm averaging about over $1,000. Now averaging generally says like, hey, here's kind of like a minimum. When I say average, I might be also referring to a minimum. And that's also what I'm thinking of, like, okay, if I do this, like, I'm okay, I'm chilling. For example, the last show, I think I made about 1,600, but I ended up leaving probably with like $600 because most of the money I ended up just like right then and there buying product or buying things from someone that wanted to sell or buying gradable cards and stuff like that. Oh, I didn't talk about it, but we'll make another video. Gradable cards, a place to buy, a place to sell every weekend, limited by location. Really quickly, limited by location. There are so many large YouTubers in the vendor show space that are from Cali. Bro, if you're in Cali, a lot of the cards move faster. Like, it's so region dependent on how fast you're going to grow. If you're in a very metropolitan city, right, you are going to grow faster, but it's also more competitive. So there's pros and cons. Here, I'm currently located in San Antonio, Texas. It's competitive, but it's also very non-competitive, right? And at the same time, for the sell-through rate right now, I mentioned like 1,600. That's one table, right? And that is kind of like the norm here in Texas. And I also state that I guaranteed, right? Like averaging $1,000. If you walk around, you ask people how much they sell, they're looking for like, hey, I want to make at least $1,000 for a $150 table. It varies heavily because it is so like mind blowing to me when I hear these Cali vendors like say like, yeah, we sold like 33% of the stuff that we took to the car show. I'm like, bro, if only, like that'd be crazy kind of thing to do that. But it is very region dependent. If your region is only binder collectors, you're not going to sell slabs. If your region is only slab collectors, you're not going to sell singles. So limited by location, I'm also referring to like the type of collectors that you're going to get or the type of collectors that that region itself has. So be aware when you're watching these YouTube videos, and a lot of these guys are from Cali, don't think like, oh man, that's a shit ton of money and I can't wait to do that. It's region dependent. Ask the vendors, ask what they're looking for, ask how much they're making and stuff like that. I'm now, even to my point, my area, I'm technically a little bit more on the higher end already of sell-through rate, or how much I'm making per, like averaging 1,000, right? Before I was averaging $500, you know, and a lot of the new vendors tend to be around there. I think I've been selling since like 3 months ago or 4 months ago. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Moving on. Tik Tok Shop, I average about $500 a week. There are obviously good weeks where you sell like a 2,000, stuff like that. I don't like doing live streams anymore. It's a drag, but the reason I would recommend you, or anyone, right, if you're going to start off, start doing live streams, start doing live rips and stuff like that. If you enjoy it, because it's very easy to see that enthusiasm and be like, wow, they're really enjoying it and ripping it. I loved it. It was super, super fun, but then I got bored of shit, and I'm just like, I'm ripping shit for other people, and I want to keep it or want to hold it, and I can't, and I'm not allowed. So like, okay, here you go. Now, the reason I still recommend it as a good starting point is because it provides easy reviews on these platforms. For example, on TikTok, I got a massive amount of reviews just doing live rip and ship. I stopped, but because of all the reviews that I was able to get, I am now selling on average over $500 of just booster boxes, whether it be in Korean or in Japanese, through Tik Tok Shop. Not on my Shopify, not on my main platform and stuff like that, but I'm just selling them without running any ads, very little content. Sometimes I wouldn't even post for a week on TikTok because I'm so lazy for it, and I'm still selling between $500 to $1,000 through it. TikTok also is very, very, very generous with their fees because they only take 6% compared to other platforms like eBay, which might be closer to 10% and stuff like that. And it's very easy to link up your products with it. So it's really simple to just update my Shopify inventory, and it'll go directly to my TikTok Shop inventory. And it might link this inventory also to my eBay, but like I said, it's harder to calculate fees because I do free shipping if you order from my shop, my online website, innovatetcg.com, or if you order from my TikTok shop. I do provide free shipping over orders of $30 and more. Generally, this does mean I'm a little bit more expensive on individual boxes, but it's better for people that just want to buy one box, just want to try out one box, right? Because it's kind of like you already added that cost of what it would cost to ship it out and stuff like that. But me as a customer, I do like ordering things that are free shipping. I don't like saying like, oh, like it's another $7 after like whatever I'm looking at. So free shipping generally costs me about $7.50, and then whatever, I'll already still calculate it. There's a formula that I use on my worksheet that I use. Attempted slabs. I was going to try selling slabs this week. I attempted it really quickly. I can already tell you why it doesn't work. The TikTok Shop platform is not really good when it comes to sorting. So on my TikTok Shop, it doesn't sort easily for booster boxes and slabs. Now, there is a way to sort it, but as I'm mentioning, it's not very good at separating them easily for you or categorizing them for the customer easily. So now, if like I listed, I think 90 slabs, 90 slabs are now covering a bunch of the booster boxes, and my booster box sell rate reduced incredibly Normally I sell between 3 to 6 boxes a day, and I didn't sell a single one since I had the slabs. So I'm going to try to remove a lot of the lower end slabs, just leave the higher end slabs if anyone wants to buy them on my TikTok shop kind of thing. And just run them on auction on eBay. Another story. We're going to go into that. But just understand the reason selling slabs is difficult and why I even questioned it. I'm like, why is no one selling them on TikTok shop? It's very easy. The sorting of it is incredibly bad on TikTok shop because TikTok shop focuses on products as well that sell massive, like over thousands of sales on that one individual product, where eBay does not view it in that manner. They view every single product equally and not necessarily by how many sales of that specific product have been sold. So eBay is a little bit more generous for single products or listings of like, oh, there's only one listing of this thing. I did sell 2 slabs on TikTok shop, so it's not like impossible, but it's just not very common. Moving on. eBay. I did start this week. I'm focused on slabs. Shout out to Gem TCG to really give me the inspiration to go into this, but there's Catchable Collectibles that also kind of like gives me ideas as to like how I interpret it, how to look at eBay sales, looking at the percentages and stuff like that. The goal is to do consignments or whatever. I constantly get this wrong. My first day I sold like over $200 of just cards. I think I sold like 2 or 3 slabs in that moment. I just have way too many slabs. If you've seen my videos and my shorts and stuff like that, this thing was full. And the reason that's a problem, you can easily just keep taking a full case of slabs with you to the vendor shows. But the reason that's a problem is because they just don't sell as quickly in some shows. So recently, my last show that I went to, it was a binder collector show. And the reason I say that is because sometimes you have like 70% or 80% of the collectors that show up to these card shows that want to buy singles. They don't like slabs. They bring their binder. They have their binder with them, and they don't have a case. People that have cases, they like slabs. People that have binders, they like singles. So it's very easy to see that. And then a lot of the times I also focus on not having like very high-end slabs. And for that reason, even when I do sell slabs, it wasn't being as worth it. It just depends, like I said, on the audience of the show. There has been a lot of shows though in San Antonio where there is a lot of slab collectors, and I saw a buttload more slabs than singles. I try my best to have what, you know, buyers want to, but sometimes you just don't get favorable or like things you want. But at the end of the day, I do have good sell-through rate. Like I said, I'll make over 1,000 vendor shows. Moving on, why I'm gonna do eBay. We have too many slabs. We need to sell them through them a lot faster. I do like rating with tag, simply because I do get them a lot faster than sending them to PSA. I'm also not a fan of PSA, but I am a relatively new collector, right? And I do like slabs personally, and I'm really good at grading. My most recent submission, I got 16 out of 19 graded 10s. So I'm getting really good with grading, and the profit margin when you grade is about 50 to 30% of that card. So like, even if you buy that card at market, even if you pay $20 to get it graded, whether it be with PSA or tag, even if I make less money selling a tag slab, people like them. Either way, people will buy them. Even if I make 20% of what PSA slab would sell for, it's still worth doing so, because for me, it's a sell-through rate, right? My bank account is generally under $200 because I buy and sell very, very, very quickly. And for example, right now I owe one of my Korean distributors $1,250, and I'm just waiting for like the Wise transaction to go through. So it's a lot of sell-through rate and trying to sell as fast as I can, regardless of the profit margin kind of thing. And the reason I would recommend also for new graders to grade with tag is because it's a lot easier to get better at it. I got really, really good at it really quickly. I went from I think I got a gem rate, mint rate of 9 out of 20, 11 out of 20, 13 out of 20, and then already 16 out of 20. One of them I didn't count, but like 16 out of 19. It's not hard to get good at grading with tag. So generally I recommend it to new graders, and I feel like I would still get 10s with PSA, but it is that one of those situations where if you grade with PSA, you're going to be waiting 3 months to get that card. And while it would be worth it kind of thing. A good way to just sell through these tag slabs would just be run an auction. Even if you don't sell it for like a PSA market value, you're still going to make a lot of money. And that 30% or 20%, instead of making that 50% profit margin that you get from grading a slab, you can still move that money. By the time of those 2.5 months that would have passed for you to get that PSA slab and run the same auction, yeah, you would have made more money, but you would have waited longer to be able to get that capital kind of thing. So that's my food for thought, and that's the reason that I'm doing it the way that I'm doing it. Do I recommend it to everybody? No. If you freaking hate tag slabs, don't bother. Just don't give a shit about them, and that's okay. I'm not gonna judge people. I like CGC, I like PSA, I like tag, but there's just pros and cons to everything, and you just have to acknowledge that. That is literally a whole rant about just eBay and stuff like that. TCGPlayer, $100 per week. Right now, the reason I really like watching these bulk YouTubers is because if you really think about it, bulk has a 70 to 80% profit margin if you're making sure that you're selling at a minimum, right, of like 20 cents. I really don't recommend you to sell under 20 cents because once you calculate the stamp, once you calculate the mail and stuff like that, or what is it called? Man, I'm really blanking out. The envelope. Once you calculate everything and the sleeves and everything like that, you will make between 70 to 80% profit margin if you sell at 20 cents instead of selling at the lowest. You do not have to sell at the lowest. If you sell at the lowest and you're okay losing money on some sales and winning money on other sales, congrats. There's just no reason to waste your time doing it. I'm going to be honest. You're wasting money. You're selling things at a loss. Selling things at a loss is good if you're... Hi, I'm a business major. I have a master's in business, by the way. But even then, even though I have a master's in business, I still would recommend you to watch these YouTubers instead of me, if I'm completely honest. Because they've just been in it longer, right? Congrats, I have a master's in business. Does that mean anything? Not really. If I'm still at 22,000, I'm going to be honest, it is very small in the Pokemon space. So you, as a viewer, might even have already more than I do, kind of thing, in the time frame that it's taking me. But I do like trying a lot of things. Anyways, backtracking. Let's not get too distracted. Don't lose money unless you're doing it for marketing purposes. The reason I was okay losing money on the TikTok shop, in the beginning I was losing a lot of money on my boxes and how much I was selling them for. I would do discounts and stuff like that, is because I wanted the reviews. I wanted a sell-through rate. I would run giveaways on the live because I wanted to grow the channel as quickly as possible. And when you're focused on that, you will lose a lot of money. But now, right, the TikTok shop is super profitable. The reason TCGPlayer doesn't benefit from that is it's always a race to the bottom. No one really looks at your account and says, wow, I'm going to buy only from this person. That is not how TCGPlayer works. It is not very shop oriented. It's very platform oriented. So it doesn't really care about your shop being like, 10 out of 10, best store in literally the whole platform. It doesn't give a shit. So it's literally who has the lowest pricing. That's going to be what I buy from. So don't focus on that specifically. Even if you price at 20 cents or better, you're probably going to make more money and your time is going to be more valuable long term. It's just a lot of people get anxious and they want to sell things as quickly as possible. But when you're thinking about 70 to 80% profit margin on these items, it is insanely amazing. But it has that requirement of that. So for slabs, right, for eBay, that's different. It's a different conversation, but if you're just thinking about it in like the platform. So for eBay, right, this is a store oriented. If you can get followers even on eBay, is what I was just noticing before I started making this video. On eBay, it's okay to be the lowest pricing, get reviews, and then grow from there. TCGPlayer, you don't give a shit about that. I'm going to be honest. Like, even if you have like 5 reviews, you're probably going to sell something simply because you have the lowest pricing. And once you get like level 4, like, you just don't have to anymore. That's just my opinion on it. If you think I'm wrong, you want to call me an idiot, I'm totally okay with that. Say it in the comments. Collabs. I have a degree in business marketing and I hate making content. I'm going to be honest. This video could be so much better if I liked editing. I don't like editing. I know how to make a video successful, but I don't like editing, and I really try to avoid that. If you see a lot of my shorts, you'll notice that the amount of editing that is done is probably within 5 to 10 minutes because I don't like editing. It's worth editing I'm gonna be honest, you'll probably make a lot more viewership. You'll probably grow a lot faster. And that's one of my cruxes right now. And my dad and a lot of other people have told me, hey, if you spend a little bit more time, this would be so much better. And I'm like, I know. I just hate doing it. So if you're a small creator that you want to put something together with me, you're more than welcome to. And I'll send you a box or something. But please, this isn't me dissing small creators that are messaging for collabs. But I'm averaging like 1,000 plus views per short that I post. If you're getting less views than me, it's just not as worthwhile if you're not averaging more than me. And it's just me being realistic. I don't have a lot of followers. I have 250, right? You can have 10,000 followers, but if you're not averaging, right, that means that I'm going to send you booster boxes to do this collab, and then you're just going to make less views than I would have just ripping the box myself. So just be aware. Right now I haven't tried giveaways yet, but that's because I prefer collabs because it's more like a guaranteed following than doing giveaways. I think I'm going to do giveaways eventually, but it's just one of those things where I think you'll get more trust value out of doing a collaboration than doing a just regular giveaway. I don't think giveaways necessarily create trust, but I think collabs do, because someone can easily see, oh, this person's like opening a booster box and stuff like that is from this store kind of thing, instead of like a giveaway where if you send it to someone, right, you'll get easily followers, but it's not, you have to interpret the goals, right, of your giveaway. If you want followers, pog, right, it does long-term gain benefit, but in that moment you just have to always think about your goals. And right now the goal is to gain trust more than it is to gain a lot of 1,000 followers and stuff like that. Content on YouTube. Understand that YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram provide the most leverage. I hate that, but I acknowledge that. Having content allows for customers to find it comfortable working with you, understand your niche, own your skills. I am a teacher by trade. I used to be a math teacher, and when it comes to teaching or explaining things, I'm really good at that. But when it comes to being funny, I'm not good at that. It's just not a goal or something that I like doing, or something that I can brainstorm easily. I can think of some ideas, but generally the type of niche that I'm good with is explanatory or knowledge focused. You can go viral with that type of content. It's just going to be different type of viral and different type of people that watch your content. Just be aware. Acknowledge what you're good at. Acknowledge what your physical features as well provide. If you're prettier, use your face. It's just the truth of it, right? And just be self-aware. Moving on. I'm barely starting. What should I do? Your mom. I'm sorry. I had to throw in a joke. I really couldn't contain it. I'm such a child on that one. So I'm barely starting. What should I do? If you were me, for sure do content. Like I said, I was doing videos more routinely when I was starting off, and I really should be doing right now what I tell myself as an example, right? I tell myself do 3 TikToks or shorts, etc. a day. Do 1 video a day, which is really hard for me, by the way. I really hate doing it. And then focus on your eBay, the TCGPlayer, your online website, your TikTok, etc. Anyways, thank you for listening to my ramble. I appreciate you if you ended up watching this to the end of the video, and I'll try to do more monthly recaps. Thank you. I'm outies.